Developed and published by Sega originally for the Sega Dreamcast in 2000 was that of Jet Set Radio. The premise of the game was that Professor K broadcasted the pirated radio frequency of Jet Set Radio to various groups of young people who roamed the streets of Tokyo within Japan, using their skates and spraying graffiti in various locations throughout the city. One of the gangs, which are the GGs, competes against the Love Shockers in Shibuya, the Noise Tankers in Benton, as well as Poison Jam in Kogane. The Japanese police also seek to apprehend the children and teenagers involved. Throughout the course of the game, the GGs defeat the other groups. As they do, the vanquished drop pieces of a mysterious vinyl record which, according to Professor K, has the power to summon a demonic monster. Others join the GGs to mention that Grind City has been overtaken by the Rokaku Corporation and asks for help. The GGs are eventually tracked down and attacked by the Rokaku conglomerate and steal the pieces of the vinyl record that was acquired. It's later explained that the CEO of the Rokaku wants to summon the demon to conquer the world, but is later defeated by the GGs. As the game ends, it's revealed that the vinyl record was just a regular record with nothing special within it. And as a result of the details from the game, the CEO went mad from the revelation. Sega developers wanted a game that was different when in comparison to what else was in the gaming market with other video-related products of the time. The previous game that Sega was developing on before Jet Set Radio was Panzer Dragoon Saga, released in 1998 for the Sega Saturn. When Sega had come up with the concepts for Jet Set Radio, it attracted much attention to the vibrant colors, artistic merit, and style of the game, which Sega had hoped would attract gamers to the Dreamcast, which had then been recently launched at the time. Development of the game was also intended to be uniquely Japanese in terms of display and gaming popular culture of the time, as developers were somewhat hesitant about releasing the game outside of Japan due to aspects of the game not being recognizable or understandable to a non-Japanese audience. As a result of this, the game had aesthetic changes to it for an American and European market. Even with all of these changes, Jet Set Radio was critically hailed by both critics and gamers of the time. Due to the success of the game, a sequel was made, being that of Jet Set Radio Future in 2002, once again developed and published by Sega for the Microsoft Xbox, as the game expanded upon the lore and story of Jet Set Radio as established in the original. However, due to the ill-received nature of the Xbox outside of the United States, the sequel wasn't received as well due to the lack of gamers actually knowing of the game's existence. Although there was praise for the game, sales of it were low. As a result of the lack of knowledge of a sequel to the original Jet Set Radio, with all of this considered, the result of the original Jet Set Radio's impact on video gaming of the early 2000s was very well known and indisputable at the time. But in the years and decades since, Sega has been extremely hesitant about remaking or reviving the Jet Set Radio franchise for modern video gaming, and in the early 2020s, developers of the original Jet Set Radio mentioned that they were, quote, too old and experienced, end quote, to recreate Jet Set Radio with the same appeal that the original had for a new generation. Even if the Jet Set Radio franchise is made for a new generation, it's now known that it wouldn't have the same outlook from gamers as when in comparison to the original and sequel were released. Sometimes a cartridge can be forgotten because they have plenty of visual appeals for a new video game console of the time, but for various reasons they were later forgotten.